Good morning, 12th class. Welcome to physical education class. Students, we are in the sixth unit, which is test measurement in sports, and we are doing the last test of this series, which is Rikli and John's senior citizen test, and this is very important, right? Okay, we have already discussed three tests from this series: chest and test, and another was arm curl test and chest and test, right? Today we will discuss three more tests, which are back scratch test for upper body flexibility, 8 foot and go test for agility, 6-minute walk test for aerobic endurance. Okay, so let's begin. So our test number 4 is back scratch test. Okay, back scratch test is important for lots of works or in our daily routine life. Okay, so to measure upper body flexibility of the senior citizens, we use this test because in the age of above 60, or we can say in the age of senior citizen, this is very difficult to do so many work, and so many works depends on the upper body flexibility. So through this test we measure the upper body flexibility, right? This is back scratch test. Okay, what equipment we required? We required just a ruler. Okay, for you can see in the picture, this is the procedure of the back scratch test, in which you have to keep one hand from your lower body and one hand from your upper body side. Okay, administration and procedure of test. Test is done in standing position. One hand is placed behind the head over the shoulders and reaches as far as possible down the middle of back, whereas palm touching the body and fingers directed toward down, okay, towards down. The second process is place the other hand behind the back, palm facing outward and fingers upward, and reach up as far as possible, attempting to touch, to overlap the middle finger of both hands. It means we will try to touch or overlap the fingers. Okay. Third point is keep the knee straight and hold the reach for 2 seconds. It means we have to hold this for at least for 2 seconds so that the assistant can measure the distance. The assistant measures the distance between the fingertip, and he will measure this distance in inches. Okay, now if the fingertip touch the toe, then the score is 0. If your the fingertip of your both hands are touching each other, that time score will be 0. Okay, if they do not touch, measure the distance between the fingers and toes as a negative score. It means if the fingertip are not touching each other, that time this score will counted in negative. If they are overlapping, the fingertip are overlapping each other, that time this measures as the positive score. Okay, so very simple is, if the finger tip are touching each other, that time the score will be 0. If not, then score in negative, and we will measure through the with the help of scale. And if overlapping, then it is in positive score. Okay, this is a chart for measuring the back scratch test. If there is a person who is having age in between 65 to 69, and if the distance in centimeters, okay, if the distance in centimeters is minus 19. Minus means if the fingertip are not touching each other and distance is this, then the person is below average. If the distance is minus 19 to minus 25, sorry 20, I'm sorry 2.5, that time this is average. Okay, if the person is having distance minus 2.5, that time that person is having above average flexibility of the upper body. In the case of women, if there is a lady who is having the age in between 60 to 64, that time if they are having minus 8, it means below average. If distance is in between minus 8 to 4, that is average. And if distance is more than 4 centimeters, then, and in this we are talking about the distance if overlapping, or if palm is overlapping for 4 centimeter, right, that time this will be counted in the positive and above average. The fifth test of the series is 8 foot up and go test, right. In this test we measure the speed, agility and balance, or we can say coordinative abilities of these senior citizens. Okay, or we can say this test is designed to measure speed, agility, uh, as we can say cognitive abilities and balance while moving. It also indicates the subject's motor agility and dynamic balance. Okay, and in the equipment, we require a chair with straight or folding back. Okay. Next equipment, we require a stopwatch, a cone for placing in the distance of 8 feet. Right. Okay. Cone marker. After that, measuring tape and a clean surface without obstacles. Okay, now the procedure for the 8 foot up and go test is sit in the middle of the chair with hands on thighs. Okay, 1 foot can be placed slightly in front of the other, but both must be flat on the floor. It means you have to sit completely first. Okay, lean slightly forward when you will start trying to start the movement. On the instruction to begin or start, the person will stand up and quickly as possible he or she walk around the marker, return to the chair and sit down. This is complete one round, and in this we measure the timing, or we keep the timing as score. It means in from starting a person sits properly in the chair, then we place a cone marker in 8 foot. Okay, 8 feet, then the person stands and move around it and go back to the chair, and we count the score. And this is chart of 8 foot up and go test. If a person is having is between these categories, then these are the below average score, and we are measuring the score in seconds. Okay, because 8 feet a person normally finish in the seconds. Okay, so suppose if a person is having age of 72 years, okay, and he's man, okay, then he will come in this category if they do or they takes more than 6 seconds, then below average. If in between 6 to 4.2 seconds, then average. And if less than 4.2 seconds they take to complete the activity, that time they are above average in his or her, sorry, in his balance, speed and agility test. If we'll talk about the women's, this is the chart for the women's, right? Our next test of this series or last test is 6-minute walk test. Okay, 6-minute walk test is a part of senior citizen test protocol. It measures aerobic and functional fitness of seniors, or in the other language we can say the 6-minute walk test is to measure the endurance power of the senior citizen. For this test, we require a measuring tape to measure the distance and a stopwatch to take the time in the record, and chair for resting. If a person completes the activity, he can rest in the chair, and we need cone marker if we are marking a proper finishing point, right? Okay, now administration and procedure of test is the walking course or track is laid in the rectangular area 45 into 5 meter square. Okay, with cone marking the area at calcular interval. You can see in this picture we have a proper track of 45 into 5. Okay, in this the area is marking in the yards, right? Okay, the aim to test is to walk as quickly as possible for 6 minutes to cover maximum distance. Persons set their own pace. They can take rest if desired. That's why we are having a chair in this test. Okay. After finishing the total race or total distance, we will count the time as the score, or we can say we will stop the stopwatch in the 6 minute. Now we will measure the distance from the starting point to the end point in which the person stopped the race, or we will simply measure the distance of 6 minutes, right? Now if the person covers these distances, then that person is in the category of normal range. Okay, if less than that, below average; if more than that, above average. Okay, thank you so much. This was our test of Rikli and Jones senior citizen test. I'll again repeat this topic in the live session. Okay, we are starting the live session for the 12th class.